In this section, I'm going to continue my discussion and I'm going to add in IPv6 under ISIS. And it is a very simple command. Just a little quirk that you need to be very careful about. Everything is going to be simple. So let's go to here. I'm going to go to configuration for router 1. What I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to show you the running config for section router ISIS and see what we have here. You can see that it is very simple. There is nothing about address families, there is nothing about IPv4, so this means that actually we are running IPv4. But under each interface we have this command, IP router ISIS, and this means that we are enabling this under each interface. So I'm going to just show running config for including ISIS and also, let's say, router ISIS, and also interface. And you can see that for each interface I have router ISIS enabled, and also I have passive interface loopback 0 for the global configuration of ISIS. So I'm going to copy this part and paste it in Notepad, and what I'm going to do is to change IP to IPv6. This is the only thing that I need to do for each interface. The only command that I need for normal iOS is this, IPv6 router ISIS 1. Perhaps the process that we are using is the same as the process that we already had here. So IPv6, IPv6, and IPv6, and everything is like that. And I'm going to copy this and paste the configuration here. So this way I am enabling IPv6 for ISIS. So if I try to show IPv6 route, now you can see that, of course, these are the local connections, but I have configured IPv6 for each interface that I have here. Also, IPv6 routing is globally configured, and IPv6 SEP. This is a good practice before doing everything under on your configuration. So let's do the same thing for router 2. I'm going to use this to figure out which interfaces are there, and of course you can see that there are some errors that are appearing here. The adjacencies are changing because we don't have anything about IPv6 adjacency. Let's see what we have on router 2, and these are the interfaces that we have for router 2, and the same configuration applies for router 2. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and simply I just add this. Router 2 and router 1 are adjacent, kind of adjacent. So what I'm going to do is to show ISIS adjacency, and it says this is not complete. So ISIS neighbors, this is a better thing. You can see that we have these two adjacent to each other, and of course because of some problem that we just introduced here, they are reconfiguring adjacency, and after some time we should see, instead of this SNPA, we are going to see the name of router 2. It doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is to show IPv6 route, and now you can see that I have some routes from router 1, and this is because they are enabled and they have some information about the routes that they have sent to each other. So let's do the same thing on router 3. Again, the same interfaces are here. I already have IPv6 routing enabled, and router 4 is the same actually, so all of them have the same interfaces. Some of the router have a little different interfaces. I'm going to choose them. For example, you can see that router 6 doesn't have any IPv6 enabled on some of the interfaces. That's okay. For router 7, again, I have the same problem. That's okay. For router 8. Now let's see what routes we do see here to show IPv6 route, and you can see that I have information about everything, and something that is very important is here. Router 1, that is my ABR, is advertised in a default route for IPv6 as well as IPv4. So this is exactly what I see here, because router 1 is my ABR here. And let's go to, let's say, router 2. What we see here is, again, full information about every route that we have including the loopback interfaces. You can see that I have information about all loopback interfaces from router 5, router 3, router 4, router 2, 1, and everything that I need I have here. So let's go to router 9. Router 9 is a little different because we are running iOS XR on router 9. If I try to show you running config for router ISIS, you can see that we already have IPv4 unicast enabled on their interfaces, and of course all interface configurations go under global router configuration. So what I'm going to do is to copy all of this and paste it in Notepad. And again, what I need to do is to just add IPv6 here instead of IPv4, because we already have IPv4. We just need to make sure that IPv6 is added. And I'm going to copy this here and go to configuration mode and paste the configuration here, and also commit the configuration. Okay, so if I try to show the running config for router ISIS, now you can see that for each interface we have IPv4 and IPv6 enabled at the same time. Now if I try to show the routes for IPv6, you can see that it says no machine route found. Let me check the configuration. I guess I have missed something here. So if I try to show run router ISIS1, it says we have IPv6 enabled, and that would be, I guess, the IP configuration for interfaces. Let me see. Show run interface G0000, and that's it. Yes, I don't have any configuration for interface. That's very odd because I remember I did this. So if I go to this interface, I can type IPv6 address is going to be 2001 and 1010. This is going to be, let's say, 79.9/64. And for the other interface one, I'm going to have, let's say, 29, I guess. And for interface loopback 0, I'm going to have, first of all, 128 bits, and everything is going to be 9, like this. 9 and 9. That's it. Let's commit the configuration. So show IPv6 interfaces brief tells me that now I have some interfaces here, and all of them have been configured with IPv6 address as well. So if I show route IPv6 here, now I have information about IPv6, but there is something missing still. There is something missing. So let me see. I'm going to show you that ISIS neighborship is completely enabled, so every neighbor is there, but I don't receive anything from other devices. If I try to show ISIS database, and I'm going to show you the detail of ISIS database, you can see that I am sending and receiving everything, but something that is very interesting is here. I am using multi-topology. So what is multi-topology? Multi-topology means that for each interface I am using a separate configuration for IPv4 and IPv6. This means that IPv6 topology is completely independent of IPv4 topology, and this is very important to understand, because if you use a single topology, there is going to be just one calculation of SPF for both IPv6 and IPv4. So with this, you need to have IPv6 enabled on all interfaces that IPv4 is already enabled on that. And if you do this, there is a risk. If you change the topology a little bit, the calculation is going to be done once, but some of the information for IPv4 may be missed, and you do not have enough information to route for IPv4 or IPv6. This is going to be the quirk that you need to be careful about. So once again, if I try to show IPv6, you see there is no information about that. If I go to router 2 and try to show IPv6 route, Let's see if I have any information from router 9, and I actually don't see anything about router 9 unless there is a piece of configuration that I need to do on all of these routers. So if I go to router and I try to type address family IPv6 unicast, under that I'm going to use multi-topology for each router that I have. And let's show run for section router ISIS, and I'm going to configure this on all routers. So just I go here, IPv4, IPv6 of course, and I am going to copy this. Here I'm going to go to router ISIS1 and copy this and enable on all routers. So router 9 by default is using multi-topology. There is not going to be any issue on router 9, but the other routers need to enable multi-topology. Now if I go to router 9 and try to see IP routes, you can see that I am receiving routes from other routers one by one, and my IP routing table is growing and it is receiving everything about the other routers. So if I go to router 2 and try to show IPv6 route, now for sure I have information from router 9. So you need to be careful about the topology that you are using. Multi-topology is what you are going to use if you have a combination of IOX routers and iOS XR routers and iOS routers. And also you need to make sure that this kind of topology is enabled on your routers. If you are using both IPv4 and IPv6, each one of them should have different topology, and each one of them should be completely independent from the other one.